Bird's Eye View.
So, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to our third episode of Bird's Eye View. Great to have you back. It's been an interesting week. It's still winter here. It's getting a little bit more mild. I still haven't gotten my hair cut. Truthfully, it's just becoming something that I'm waking up and dealing with every day, and I'm getting used to it. So let's see where this ends by the time it's all said and done. Today we have a very interesting guest who's going to speak on some pretty relevant topics. He's a longtime friend of mine and somebody who's really front and center in a lot of what's happening right now, and certainly while COVID's going on, there's been a lot of interruptions and a lot of questions that are being asked. What's going to happen with homes that have been bought? What's going to happen with the market itself? Anyways, to help us answer some of those questions, I'd like to introduce Nicholas Fidei, President of Treasure Hill Homes. Nicholas, welcome.
Thank you, Kyle, and that was a beautiful introduction. I appreciate it.
I didn't get to all of your accolades, and I know there's many of them, but hopefully feel free to check out the Treasure Hill website. You can see all the awards on the site after this. Nick, we've obviously known each other for a long time. We've been friends for a long time. Our business has even started along the same time. I think we can both agree that in all the ups and downs, and this is by far the most impactful event that's ever happened for either one of us, eh?
Well, you know what? Even as you try to call people who's been in the business longer than you and get some advice, the one call that I had this morning, the gentleman said to me, "I don't know, Nick. I've never been through this before." So it's kind of tough to actually get even advice on how to deal with different issues. So we're kind of just doing it ourselves and figuring things out and trying to be smart.
And it's really unpredictable, right? That's the thing. It's, even usually if it's a downturn in the economy, at least we know what we're dealing with. In this particular case, from one day to the next, everything changes, right?
My job being the leader here in this company, you have to really get a handle on the market and try to steer the ship in the right direction based on market trends, what you feel is going to be happening in the market.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly something to be said for that and preparedness and the way that, we deal with things in the future. It's something that we're going to have to take into account. I know from my perspective, I always used to say, well, this is the plan unless the world ends. And I think this is probably what I was talking about when I ever mentioned the world ending, because this is the closest it could actually come. As far as the housing market or development market goes, industry goes, what are your views? What's the outlook? I mean, specifically in Toronto, of course, because that's where a lot of our audience is. But, what are we going to see as far as buying or renting or do the kids, the youth these days, have any hope of owning a home, post-COVID?
I think, the right word is different. We have to prepare for a different environment in terms of our market, the real estate market. From sales, I don't think we'll be flocking to sales offices the way we did before, and more one-on-one appointments are going to be done. Since this whole trend happened, we actually got our online business up and running the first week after our shutdown. And we've been able to sell some homes online, and we think it's going to stay. We think we'll sell probably about 20 to 25% of our product online moving forward. Just people don't want to interact the same way that they used to before. And immigration right now is a problem because our borders are closed. So the people that are immigrating to this country, usually we have about 330,000 per year. And we're looking this year to be down to about 150,000. And people that are actually immigrating either rent or buy. So I think the rental market, the prices are what they are. There's going to be a little bit of a price freeze in terms of rental rates. We've had a great run over the last couple of years, and the rents kept projecting on the upward trend. I think right now we're going to see a freeze for a couple of years because of the immigration. The housing market, for the low-rise side, a little bit of a different market. I think we're low on supply, so there's not a lot of supply to meet as much demand as we have out there. So I think we'll be strong. The condo side, people are going to rethink these small spaces because of what's happening. And because the number of days people were stuck inside and at home, it might result to a lot of people saying, I need larger space. I need a backyard. I need my kids to have separate rooms so they can have their own space if we do deal with something like this again. We're looking at redesigning some of our homes to actually add home offices and making sure they're real home offices, not just a room with a plug, to make sure that people are actually ready with VPNs and whatnot to be able to work from home.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Actually, I never really thought about that and how the pandemic could actually lead to a shift in how people look at small spaces, right? And I think that the boom that's happened in Toronto, that's the problem with the social distancing thing, is that people all leave their condos at a certain time and then everybody's just sitting out on the street together, right? So it's almost impossible to socially distance in that sense.
You know what? The poor guys that are living in these 400 to 500 square foot apartments and they're stuck in there for months on end and their work's closed down, they have to work from home. You know, they're rethinking on their next phase in life if a condo is the right choice for them. So
right.
That's something we're going to build on. We had an idea. We're going to do a couple commercials and social media push on space and how space is important moving forward, since we are predominantly a low-rise building.
Right. You and I have spoken a lot about this, but you just recently started to bring people back to the office as well. How's that going, and how's the transition happening there?
Outside of Treasure Hill, like myself, I think I did a good job preparing for this pandemic ahead of time. 2 weeks before our shutdown, which was on March the 8th, we got our IT department working around the clock to make sure everybody had work from home capabilities. We were having the two biggest months in Treasure Hill history in March and April when it came to homeowners moving in. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to move these people in. So, you know, getting in front of it was big. As soon as we did shut down, right away, it was seamless. We had everybody working from home. Work was as usual, as ready, and we had protocols in place to accommodate. It was good.
And then I guess the last question I'll ask you about work, you know, moving forward from today, you know, we've already talked about how you're going to market a little bit differently, that, you know, you have to give people virtual tours. You have to allow them to buy a home online. And this is the time for innovation, right? Like, this is the time that if you've got an idea, we got to bring it to the table and work together. And obviously we've worked on certain things. We work with our, you know, your agency partner, Impact North, on a variety of things and try to, you know, just bring the best solutions to the table. But I think that if there was ever a time to do that, this is now, right?
So we were hovering around the idea for 2 years about selling online. It's funny how something like this catapulted into 1 week. Like, we were ready in 1 week and we were selling product online in 1 week. So, because, you know, our hands were tied and we had to do what we had to do to get going. And I do think there's going to be a lot of changes and we have to be innovative. And us at Treasure Hill, we have an amazing team. And we're ready for it. Look out for us in the next coming months. We're going to be ready with some pretty amazing new product, new designs, and new communities.
Tractor trailers rolling. Look out. So on the personal side of things, I know you were going up north a little bit at the beginning, but you kind of cut back and you're just kind of sticking from home. Everybody's good. Family's good.
You know what? We were up north for the first month and a half. My family, I felt it was a little safer up north. Then, you know, we came back about a month ago. One thing that was pretty funny was I have a 16-month-old son who needed a haircut, much like you were chatting about earlier. And I said to myself, well, you know what? This is when my hairdressing skills come out. Well, I chopped a little too much. So he looks like he has a 1980s bowl cut. But, you know, it's growing back slowly, and it's something to remember for a long time, that's for sure.
It's part of the story. When you show him pictures, you can say, this is the first and only haircut Daddy ever gave you, right? We have a hairdresser in common, of course, my brother-in-law, John Paul. And I think that when he saw that picture of Lino with that haircut that you gave him, he almost fainted.
Imagine.
I think that part of the biggest thing for you and I, we're both pretty social guys. We haven't been able to get together. We haven't been able to share a drink. I haven't been able to, you know, invade your wine cellar in a while. And it's, you know, it's really depressing in a lot of ways, but we've still found ways of staying connected. And I think you have with, you know, other friends and family as well, right?
You know what? We're using Zoom for family birthday parties, Mother's Day. We were very strict with our social distancing as a family. And I hope everybody else was doing the same thing. But for our friends and myself and you know, we started this online poker game every Saturday night. And then you have a Zoom call going on one side. So it's just a friendly game, and it allows us to chat for 3-4 hours every week. And that's been amazing. Yeah.
And I think the best part about that is, from your perspective, is that we don't get to raid your wine cellar by playing at your house. So you're making money and you're saving money at the same time if you're winning, right? So
I'd like to continue it on after this, because you're right. I'm saving a lot on wine, and you can do it at your own pace.
I was going to ask if you had any funny stories. The story, obviously, that you told about Lino was probably as good as it's going to get right now. Anything else that can come to mind? Any funny stories that have happened, either at work or otherwise, around COVID?
You just see over this period, because I am home maybe an hour or two more often than usual, but the kids are getting really attached to me. So, I get home, my son's waiting at the door. It's not a funny story, but it's a nice thing that you see when you are home more often. Sometimes we, as yourself too, Kyle, we get wrapped up in our businesses, and we let our businesses take over our life. And this whole COVID thing makes you realize how important family is.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I mean, I think we have to acknowledge that even on our cycling team, we have doctors who are, on the front lines of this entire thing, and they're, dealing with the emergency departments, and they've seen a lot of this stuff. We even know guys that have been infected with COVID that have thankfully made it through. But, if there's a silver lining for all that, the shit that they're dealing with, and that, that I guess you could say to a much lesser degree than we're dealing with, it is just that. If my wife doesn't kill me, it gives us the opportunity to spend a little bit more time together, so I'm thankful that there's those small things as well. That being said, I don't want it to become the new normal. I do want to get back to some type of, what we had before.
And I'm seeing even the people in the office, it's getting to the point that people are frustrated and they want to come back. Where they were comfortable at the beginning, now I'm seeing the shift where people are saying, we're ready. And the one main reason that everybody's telling me is it's tough for them to turn it off at home. They're actually always on with the Zoom and conference, so they're working a lot more often. Maybe they're just telling me that, but I think they are. I can see it. I can see myself too.
You message somebody at 8:00 at night, and you almost say, why aren't you replying? What else could you possibly be doing right now? And that's not fair, right? Like, you have to give everybody their time. So
I'm looking forward to coming back. And to your other point, I think all the doctors and nurses have done some amazing things. Our frontline workers are amazing, and even the grocery store workers, and we've got to tip our hat off to those people.
Yeah.
I have a small foundation called the Fidei Foundation. We actually just donated 200 gift cards to Amazon for all the nurses at Mackenzie Health.
Oh, way to go. Congratulations.
So we're helping out where we can here.
That's really nice. Well, listen, Nick, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for taking the time for today. I think it was great. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night playing poker, taking your money, if not your wine. I look forward to taking your wine someday down the road again. But again, thanks for coming on.
Our record's 2 for 2, right? Like you won.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
Right. Cheers. Thanks again. Talk to you later. All right, everybody. Well, listen, thanks for joining us. It was a great chat with Nick, and I hope you found some of that insightful. I think that certainly there's some interesting times coming up. A new reality that's continually changing on an ongoing basis. And whether it's building, whether it's marketing, whether it's whatever it is that you do, it's something that we're going to have to acknowledge and shift and move on. So thanks for watching. See you next time on Bird's Eye View. Cheers.
Bird's Eye View.